Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis. Welcome to my channel, Life, Home, and My Linux Journeys. And in this journey, we're going to install Debian Linux. Let's go over to their web page here. Bring up Distro Watch. And if you'll see, we did MX Linux, which is based on Debian. We did Linux Mint, which is based on Ubuntu. We did Endeavour OS, which was based on Arch Linux. Now we're going to install Debian, which is, guess what? Based on Debian. The country of origin is global, meaning they got people all over the world helping them with this project. The architecture is just about anything you can think of is going to be covered, as well as their desktops. I think I counted 17 different desktops here that it's available. All right, let's continue with the journey. We're going to click on their home page here. And immediately on their home page, you're presented with a download button, which is what most people are going to just be drawn to because it's big and it's there. If you click on that, it's going to download the net installer. This is 12.6.0, the net installer. I'm going to cancel that because I've already got it downloaded. It will use, or this download, the net installer, will use its own Debian installer. And during that install, you'll have the option to install 7 or 8 different desktops that are available. GNOME, XFCE, KDE, LXQT, LXKDE, not LXKDE, but there's several, and we'll see those. But on the other hand, if you want a different download, provided you don't have internet access and you want to download it and install it at home or what have you, then this says try Debian Live before installing. Try Debian Live before installing. And I'm guessing that most people are going to want to do it this way. And you'll see the reasons. The reasons will become obvious when we get through here. If you just click on the XFCE desktop or XFCE option there, it's going to download the image file. I've already downloaded it, but that's not how I download it. I click on Live Torrents, navigate to the bottom of the page here, and you'll see your different desktops. And I selected XFCE Torrent, and not listed here, but I definitely got it. I've already downloaded it. So you can see, I mean, the journey for Debian takes just a few minutes to get to. So let's go ahead and bring up, this is Vert Manager. Let's create one. Local media. We're going to select Browse, Downloads, Debian Net Installer, choose the volume. Here we're going to type in Debian. And it only goes to 11. And this is Debian12. We'll say forward. And we're going to give this 8192 megs of RAM, 8 gigabytes. And we're going to turn it up to 4 processors, split my processor down the middle, say OK. And since this is going to be UEFI mode, I'm going to say 58.50, 58 gigs, 58.5 gigs hard drive. Say next. And we're going to customize configuration before install. Say finished. Here we're going to drop down the arrow and select UEFI mode. Say apply, and let's begin. Minimize this. And there we go. So we got the graphic installer. Not going to be able to do much about the resolution. All right. We get it all in screen here first. So if you click the go back button, this will be the first screen you see. But on the bottom right, you see go back. You can choose your language. This is what we're going to do, which was the default image that we saw, or card. But you do have other options here. Configure the speech synthesizer. You can have a braille display, detect installation media. I mean, you just have some options here that you don't default to right away. You do have that option to go back. So it correctly selected English for me. I'm going to say continue. It also correctly selected United States. I'm going to say continue with American English. detect network, configuring the network. I can see my net plugin thing down here flashing occasionally, meaning it is reaching out. Okay, so this is the host name for this system. If I was to go online and on another computer and try to SSH into this computer, I would have to know the host name, and in this case it's selected just Debian, which is fine for me. This is a VirtBox. I'm not going to be using it. I'm using Debian, as you'll see here in a minute anyway. Okay, the domain name is part of your internet address and to the right of your host name. So if you need one of those, here's where you put it. I'm going to leave mine blank. All right, now we need a root password. Tab twice to get the confirmation box there. You should read this about the root password. In Linux, we have a root directory. In Windows, they use an administrator account. Here we use a root account. All right, so that's the root password. Say next. We're going to enter the real name, which is just going to be Dennis. You put your name in there. Here it's correctly selected Dennis. I'm going to say OK. Now Dennis needs a password as well. Tab twice to get the confirmation. A good password contain mixture of letters, etc. Say next. All right, here you're going to select your time zone. In my case, it was America, or United States. I'm in the central time zone. I'm going to select that and go continue. Loading additional components. Now here we're going to say guided using the entire disk. You do have other options to set up LVM or encrypted LVM. I'm going to say next. That is the correct hard drive. Not all files in one partition. Recommended for new users. So there is my first hiccup. I want to manually partition this. So I'm going to go back again, select manual, say next. We're going guided partition. Here's the virtual drive, 62.8 gigabytes. Say next. You will be able to undo this operation later if you wish. Create a new empty partition table on this device. Yes. Here's the device here. I'm going to highlight it and say continue. We're going to create a new partition. Now this one will be, make sure my num lock is on, 512. Not liking my keyboard. 512 space MB for megabytes at the beginning. All right. Use as, double click that and say we're going to use this for EFI system partition. Now you do have some other options there, but there's only one or two that's going to be right. EFI system partition. All right, use it. Boot flag on. That's correct. Done setting up this partition. Now we should see two, and we do. Now next, I'm going to say continue on this free space here, and we're going to go with the swap space. Create a new partition. And here we're going to change this to 8 gigabytes of swap space, which are 8 gigabytes at the beginning. And we're going to use as, double click that, and we're going to select swap area. Next. All right, we're through setting up this one. And there's our 3 partitions. Now I'm going to highlight the remainder of that. And at this point, you could keep going and put a separate home partition in here, but I'm not. I'm going to use all the remainder as one partition, 54.3 gigabytes. Say OK. And we're going to use it as ext4. The mount point is correct. We're done setting up this partition. Now we should see what we got here, 510 megabytes of ESP, EFI boot. We got a swap space and we got a root drive. We're done. Finished partitioning and write changes to disk. Write changes to the disk. We're going to have to verify by indicating yes there and say next. Now it's going to format it and install the base system, only the base system. Okay, at here, if you have, say, a special driver that you know you need, and it's on another disk, whether it be USB, CD, or DVD, whatever the case, here you have the opportunity to scan for that and install it, I'm assuming, at this point. If you wish to scan for more media, please insert another one now. I'm going to say nope. All right, so for the mirrors, I'm going to select the ones in the United States. Again, you select the appropriate ones for you. Here, I'm going to select the default mirror that it's offering me. It does have many options. If you have one in the United States here that you prefer, this would be a good time to select that. I don't have a proxy and I'm not going to use one, so let's continue with blank. Configuring APT. Now it's setting up the mirrors repositories. All right, this system may anonymously supply the distribution developers with statistics about the most used packages on this system, etc., etc. Do you wish to participate? Now, by default, it's on no. That is freaking awesome. Thank you, Debian. However, on a real machine, which I've installed on this machine, Debian, I selected yes because I want them to be selective about the information that they do gather, and I want it to be pertinent to their system only. And so anyway, in this virtual box, I'm going to leave no as default and say continue. That is nice. Now here you get to select your desktop. By default, GNOME's going to be selected. I'm going to undo that, tick XFCE desktop. You can also have a web server, a SSH server. So if I wanted to SSH into another system, it's already set up. So I'm going to, other than to change the desktop, the rest of it I'm going to leave as default. Later on, if I choose to install OpenSSH, I will. Continue. Now it's going to reach out and grab all the XFCE stuff and meld that into the base system. And you can see my monitor down there going crazy. This will take a minute. While that's doing that, there's no reason why we can't look at what I'm running right now on this system here. If I run INXI or INXI and go SAGM for graphics screen or graphics machine, for audio, we're using Pulse Audio under ALSA. Under the display server, we're using X11. The machine here is a Dell Precision Tower 3620. And it's running Debian GNU Linux 12 bookworm. Clear that. Wonder why tab complete didn't work. Oh, it's screen. There we go. Debian12 bookworm, much of the same information there. See where we're at on the install, still working on it. So this is my Debian install that I use daily. And I have everything in here that I want or need or just want. Including Oracle VirtualBox, the Virtual Manager, which is running now, as well as boxes. And it does come with Synaptic Package Manager. Although, to be honest, I rarely use it, but it is available, and I do use it. Back to the installation here. We'll just pause the video or fast forward. So the website has gotten tremendously better than what I first saw probably 5 years ago now. I mean, this is tremendous as far as being able to get to your download. You can see one click, I got a net installer, which only requirement is that you have the net or internet capability. You see how easy it was to get to the other downloads. Now you can get lost over here, and I did. But eventually I saw, and I kept reading where it said, try Debian Live before the installation, which gives you the Calamaris installer, which you will see, to me, is easier. Only because it's more familiar. Most all Linux distributions that have a GUI installer are using the Calamaris installer. Sorry, but most of them are. So, like I said, hats off. They've done a lot better. It's still not the best it could be, but it's a lot better. I'm going to go ahead and close this out since we don't need it. And see where we're at on the installation here. LibreOffice comes in by default. Okay, so we see it's cleaning up, and that's usually a good indicator that we're reaching the end of the installation. I don't think we're quite through yet, though. We've got to install Grub on SDA1, which was the EFI system partition. Setting up users and passwords. Okay, so that's it. It says we need to reboot. Let's reboot. There's our Grub. All right, let's see what advanced options brings. We got a recovery mode or the regular Linux kernel that it was going to load to start with. Okay, it's time to log in. With my username and my password, do we have any options other than a default XFCE session? Nope, no such thing as Wayland. And there we go. So let's go to Settings Manager, find Display. Let's change this to 14:9. Say keep it, close. This is the XFCE4 desktop on top of Debian. And I can see that my scaling there was wrong. Drag that out to where it's right. And there we go. So let's bring up a terminal. And first thing we're going to have to do is sign in as root, give it our password. And now let's run a apt update and an apt upgrade. And there should be nothing to do because we just installed everything brand new. Let's see. Clear that. df-th. Let's see what we get here. If we can read it. SDA 3, 9%, 4654 gig capacity. We've used 4.2 gigabytes for the installation. BDA1, that's the boot EFI. It's not going to show the swap. All right, I doubt HTOP is installed. So in this case, since we're already as root, apt install HTOP. All right, now let's run HTOP. We're using 477 megabytes of swap. That's pretty good. Not swap, of resources. I already did. Oh, I'm as root. So you do have a user account, but you are not part of it. So let's just, I'll show you what I'm talking about if I do a sudo apt update. It's going to tell me, it's going to ask for a password and then tell me I'm not in the sudoers file. The easiest way, unless you know how to put yourself in the sudoers file, is to just sign in with as root privileges, su space hyphen. Press enter and give it your password. And that'll allow you to run whatever you need to run. Or you can add yourself into the sudoers group, give yourself some extended privileges. So in essence, for benefit of time here, I'm going to shut this down. Close it out. Let's force that off. It's still running. It is shut off. Okay. All right. So that was the Debian installer. And you can see it's not hard by no means. It is a little more intricate than the regular Calamaris installer, and we will see that. So based on just on my opinion, Calamaris installer is easier. The Debian installer is a little more detailed as far as like your desktops. You can select your desktop. You don't have to go ahead and predetermine which desktop you want. You can just download the one that's going to give you an option for any of them. That's pretty nice. So that was the Debian installer. I'll be back with the Calamaris installer. Peace out, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you on the other video. Bye.